Okay.
All right, first off, we're going to go through our appointments that I've made. And I don't have it handy. Do you have it handy? She always has everything handy. First off, I guess we'll go around the table and just everybody introduce yourselves.
Hi, Nate Jameson.
Eric Paul.
Come on, Jody.
Jody Brown.
Steve Condon.
Doig.
Jennifer Fay.
Dave Merzick.
Nice. Down through the appointments, Deputy Mayor, I'm going to appoint Richard Doig, Dick Doig. The Clerk Treasurer, Jody Brown. Deputy Clerk Treasurer, Misty Phoenix. Superintendent, Public Works, Ernest J. Smith. Where is it? Yeah, I'm giving you the J.
Thanks.
Otherwise known as Butch. Police Chief, Paul Olson. Building Inspector, Steve Dutcher. Code Enforcement, Steve Dutcher. Flood Planning, Steve Dutcher. Attorney, Dave Merzick. Historian, Walton Historical Society. Budget Officer, Jody Brown. Tax Collector, Jody Brown. Register of Vital Statistics, Jody Brown. Deputy Registrar, Misty Phoenix. Financial Institutions, Wayne Bank and National Bank of Delhi. Media newspaper, going to be the Reporter and the Daily Star. Radio station, WDLA. And then, as far as committee heads, we're going to have the Zoning Board, which is going to stay the same, which is going to be Richard Ganzio?
Yep.
Ganzio, Robert Locker, Richard Sarantonio, Greg Miller, and Larry Stratton. The Planning Board is going to be Rita Ray, Andy Jackson, which is the chairperson, John Clark, Seth Kleinman, and Seth Wildenstein. Committee head for Public Works is going to be Eric Ball, trustee. Public Safety is going to be Richard Doig, trustee. Recreation and Theater is going to be Nate Jameson. Code Enforcement is going to be Eric Ball. Wastewater Treatment Plant is going to be Jennifer Fay. And Audit, Municipal Planning, and Economic Development is going to be Steve Condon, myself, and Richard Doig. Now, we'll go to public input. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up?
Hi, I'm Billy Jo Klein, and I'm here with Walton Little League.
Yes.
I wasn't here last meeting, but they sent me to find out if you guys made a decision on adding that third porta potty onto the Legion Field.
Okay. Some of us had talked, and I think what we're going to do is let you guys do it like you would if you have tournaments. You guys get it yourself and go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead and do it.
Okay,
'Cause we'll have the other bathrooms and stuff, they're already there for you.
okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
Yep. Anybody else? All right. Let's go to abstracts and payments. Whoops.
They decided.
You decided you're gonna have one? Is this about Bassett Park?
Yes.
You're gonna be on the list down here already.
Oh, okay.
Yep, you guys are on the list. All right, we're gonna do abstracts and payments and invoices. Most of you had a chance to take a look at the invoices and the abstracts. So entertain a motion from somebody to
Make a motion
pay the bills.
to pay the bills.
I second that motion to pay the bills.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, department heads. Butch.
Evening, everyone.
Butch, how are you?
We're good. We're good. I brought some of the sun. I don't have the 70 degrees yet, but
We're working on it?
yeah, we're working on it. Everybody got my report? Mm-hmm. Any questions at all?
Any questions?
Not yet.
Not yet. Next month we'll get you.
Everything's been going pretty good. We were just talking down there before. We got some issues with the telemetry system we're working on, but everything else is going pretty good. Hopefully have the street sweeper out this week and move on.
Good deal. We'll start doing some patching.
Yep.
That'll make a lot of people happy.
Maybe.
Maybe, maybe. That's it?
That's it.
All right. That was quick.
Painless.
That's right.
Cedarwood, we're not gonna have one tonight. Jason decided to get sick on us. Bill Brown.
Camera's wet. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Bill.
We got a handout that we try to distribute by email. There's some more in, I put copies in your guys' mailboxes.
I don't know if they even know where the mailboxes are yet.
You got mailboxes?
Yeah, you got
I have one already.
you got mailboxes
There's
down
each
there.
one of those in each of your mailboxes. We just want to kind of touch base on a couple of projects and kind of ongoing things. At the wastewater treatment plant, we have a couple of ongoing projects, repair projects. One on the clarifiers, which are the big circular tanks kind of in the center of the plant. Two of those tanks are original to the wastewater treatment plant constructed in the 1970s. And there's some repairs that are going to be happening to those that were budgeted. And we're going to be making some repairs as the weather kind of turns a little bit. And the filter building in the back of the wastewater treatment plant, there was some work completed this past week. There's large tanks that hold chemical as part of the treatment process, and DEC requires that there be secondary containment for them. So, you know, in the event there was a spill or something, it would be contained. The basins we're kind of starting to chip away, and we budgeted this year to reline those basins to ensure that secondary containment was there, and that work was completed this past week. A company out of Pennsylvania came in and put fiberglass liners in the basins. In the event there's a spill, then everything's contained within those and can be cleaned up. So that work is budgeted. That part of the plant, the filter building in the back where the sand filters are, that generally is funded 100% by New York City. The requirement to have that there is essentially theirs, so they fund that part of the operation. So when things happen in the Seabud building, the sand filter building, generally New York City picks up that portion of the sewer budget. Other parts of the plant that New York City doesn't mandate, you know, it's a state mandate through New York City, or excuse me, New York State, like the clarifiers. New York City pays a portion of the cost of operation and maintenance of that facility, and the village pays the remainder. So in this case, the bill that we are presenting to you guys tonight is 100% New York City, and is part of is part of the sewer budget for this past year. So we are asking the board consider authorization payment to Advanced Fiberglass Services in the amount of $32,751.
Do we have to make a motion on that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So it's, excuse me. So we pay up front, but we get reimbursed by New
Right.
York City.
Yep.
I make a motion that we do that.
A second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
We have a few other projects in other areas of the village. Shepherd Street, you may have seen some different stuff with that. The village did receive funding this year. I think it was awarded last year, and the paperwork came through this year to provide funding to rehabilitate that street. If you take a drive down Shepherd Street, which I encourage everybody to do if you haven't, you'll see some spots where the road is sagging pretty good and the guide rails aren't guiding too well. The village obtained financing to go towards fixing that street up, a portion of it. So we do have a couple of different options on the table to looking at doing that, with redoing guide rails, stabilizing the slope, repaving, stormwater improvements, and then looking at how to kind of ensure that street for the long term, whether it's going to be a two-way, a one-way, or a portion one way or another. So we've got a few options for the board to consider on how you want to kind of structure that street long term. It is a village street, so
How long
it's
do we have before that grant is no longer
3 years.
3 years and we just got it?
Yeah.
So we've got a little bit of time to
we got
figure out what we want to do.
Right. So we're happy to look at obviously involve Butch and DPW to kind of come up with our game plan there. So
And what's its status of, safety level at this point,
the guide rails that are there, and you'll see when you go by, they're not holding a whole lot up right now. and the slope and there's areas of the slope where there's pretty good depression. And, it's
It's a project that needs to be done.
that needs to be addressed. So I'm not saying anything's gonna fall down tomorrow or anything like that, but, it's something that's on the docket that needs to be looked at, so. There's a few other projects at kind of different stages, a lot to do with the Walton Flood Commission. Delaware County Soil and Water Conservation District is looking at putting measures in the streams around some of your utility crossings, water and sewer crossings. So I think there's 15 or 17 throughout the village where there's a water line or a sewer line that goes underneath the stream bed. And when we have floods, those aren't very conducive to keeping those pipes in place. After the 2006 flood, I think we had to replace or repair 7 or 8 of them. Soil and Water Conservation District is moving forward with trying to reinforce some of those stream crossings where they put rock channels in the stream to try to prevent erosion. So that's something for you guys to kind of be aware of. There's a few projects that the village is looking at with funding from Catskill Watershed Corporation, CWC. One, we're in kind of the early stages of an assessment on the western portion of the village, kind of West Street, 206 area, to look at doing some mapping and looking at stormwater facilities to try to make improvements there. With a lot of these programs, the funding programs, they start with kind of a study to look at what the problem is and come up with cost estimates for how to fix it, and then that study is the basis for implementation of projects, whether they be stormwater or sewer or water. So they're kind of in the initial phases of a study, or applying for funding to do a study with CWC for stormwater assessment, starting on kind of that end of town. The village is also moving forward with a series of feasibility studies on private buildings that CWC is funding. Initially, CWC required that these projects be sponsored by a local municipality, the village or town. Bless you. So there's five buildings that the village applied for and were awarded funding. We have one of the studies completed to date, and that's into CWC. And kind of once this is the first one through the program, so we're trying to get the format confirmed with what they want to see, and then that'll be the template to do the other studies. And then there's a series of other businesses that are also looking to kind of piggyback on that program. And it all ties back into the Flood Commission. So the Flood Commission did a study to look at what should be done up and down Delaware Street and along the river corridor. One of the recommendations in that study was to look at flood-proofing your commercial buildings. So with that recommendation in that study, CWC has a hazard mitigation program to look at advancing the things that are in that study. So one of them was feasibility, flood-proofing buildings. You start by looking at the building. All right, what needs to be done? Does it get raised? Does it get a wall around it? Does it get, this, that, or the other? And then CWC has a program to fund part of the implementation of that. So that one's on the docket. And we're also in the very early stages of working with DPW in the village on looking at the highway garage, or a portion of the highway garage that is original to that overall facility and is coming on the end of its useful life, I guess we'll say.
That's a good way of putting it.
So looking at options there and potential for, where funding could be sought through different agencies. So. And that's it.
Yeah. I'll have more questions next month.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bill. Mr. Dutcher, Steve, code enforcement.
Good evening, everybody. I just handed you my report. If you just want to take a look at it, I'm not going to read it word for word, but I'll just kind of give you the synopsis of the layout of my reports so that you understand them in the future. Obviously, the front page is just a summary page. Next page is always permits. That's the number of permits. who I've issued them to, basically what they're for. Page after that is an inspection. It says inspection schedule. It's just an accounting of my inspections, all related to the permits that I've issued. Next page is COCC. So CO is Certificate of Occupancy, CC is a Certificate of Compliance, and those are the permits that I have closed out. When I close them out, they're going to get one or the other certificate. Next page is blank, I don't know why. And the last page is complaints. There's two different things on there. Complaints that I've received, dealt with, or they're still open, whatever the case may be. And then you'll also see CO searches on there. CO searches are Certificate of Occupancy searches. When a property changes hands, an attorney will contact me for a search to determine whether or not it needs a certificate of occupancy. If it does, whether one exists. So that's just an indicator of, to some degree, the real estate that's moving within the village. So if you see a lot of CO searches on there, there's a lot of real estate changing hands. So that's kind of how you use that data. So that's pretty much in a nutshell, other than I did complete training in Mount Tremper on 26th and 27th on floodproofing and elevation. And there'll be, probably my next training won't be till this fall, I'm looking at. I might pick up some here and there along the way, but my big training will be in the fall for code enforcement. And that's it in a nutshell. Questions? Next month, right?
Next month.
You look like the question guy. Guess what, Paul?
How's that for timing?
Perfect timing. Plus also, did you hear the train running? You got appointed chief again. Well, I know you didn't want it, but you got it again.
No orangutan move. Did everybody get a copy of my monthly report? I really, well, welcome to all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't really have anything much to say tonight. The only thing I have is that Noah Meisner, our new recruit, starts the academy tomorrow, which will probably be one of the most memorable days of his life. I'm certain. So, other than that, I have nothing. Not even asking for money.
That's good.
It's a good start, right?
Yeah.
You guys like me already?
Yeah, exactly.
I like that a lot. That's it?
That's it. Guys, any questions for him? I know, next month.
Next month.
Next month.
Well,
All right. Mayor's report. I don't really have anything. Not yet. Next month. Next month. The one thing that I am going to bring up is through the county chamber. And we're going to have Lillian speak on a couple of things that we have to go through tonight, or just one thing we have to approve tonight. Bicycle racks that the county's going to be getting for us. So go ahead.
So on March 15th, the Delaware County Chamber had a joint meeting between a village representative and a town representative. Patty Wood was here representing the town, and Ed was here for the village. After the Meet the Candidate night, somebody suggested it would be a good idea to have bicycle racks positioned throughout the village. And the Delaware County Chamber wants to write the grant to purchase the bicycle racks as a phase 1 project to include at a later date an interpretive trail that's 10 miles long that highlights some of the history of the town and village of Walton. And so we wanted to position the bikes in the business district so that people coming from out of town could park their bikes and go have something to eat, or do a little shopping, go visit the river, etc. What we were asking from the municipalities is to give us permission to proceed with the grant, to write the grant, and to come up with a couple of designs which you would approve, whoever you want to appoint as the liaison to approve these bicycle racks. We didn't know whether they would go on village property or town property. That's something that the two municipalities would have to decide. Essentially, the county chamber is going to do all of the legwork to secure the racks, and also work with a couple of groups such as 4-H and Eagle Scouts to get the signage done. Just to bring tourists into Walton, both the town and the village. So we would like your permission to proceed with writing a grant. And the only thing that we will ask you to do at some point is, as an in-kind service, is if it is going to be on village property, is that your DPW crews secure the bicycle racks, like cement them into the parking lot or wherever else they're designated. And we're going to be asking the same thing from the town. So we need, the county chamber does need the village's support to tell us to go ahead and apply for the grant.
Okay. We want to make a motion on that?
Motion?
I'll second it.
Motion made and second for us to back the chamber for the county to go ahead with the bike rack. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Great.
Great.
And we'll have another meeting, Dave, in April, and I will be letting Steve know when that meeting is. And we'll just keep you advised as to every stage of the process. And of course, you're going to be, part of the decision-making with the town.
Town sits right over there. You're invited too, Joe.
Yes, Joe. The decision-making with the town in actually selecting the bike racks that are going to be positioned so that they meet your aesthetic values, and also in conversation with the floodplain manager.
Yes, ma'am.
To make sure that we are, the racks are in compliance with FEMA requirements, so that they are not obstructing the flow of potential floodwaters, et cetera. So every step of the way, there will be input.
The plan is that each entity would own the bike racks? You're not, the chamber's not retaining ownership interest?
No. So that was the other thing that we wanted to discuss, that were just preliminary, discussions, is that this could be developed into something more, but the chamber, which, although we cover all of Delaware County, our offices are located in Delhi. We would really like the town and the village to be responsible for the racks once they are positioned.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next we have is the county stipulation for foreclosure sales. And that is this one. I'm gonna have to have Jody remind me again what this all requires again. It means
This is an annual thing. We jump on board with the Delaware County when they're foreclosing on people for failure to pay their taxes, and then we share the proceeds.
Okay. So we need a motion on that.
Right, just, they got to editorialize, you made me come here, you got to listen to me. This is, one of the things that most counties do, is in most counties, the county will in fact, if there are taxes that are left unpaid, you would turn those taxes over to the county would reimburse the village. And then the county as a whole would do the foreclosures throughout the entire county. They do it for all the towns. They don't do it for all the villages. So that kind of leaves us in a situation where we have to go after our own. And sometimes, and those are the ones where the county hasn't done it, or we have extraordinary situations where we're having to come in. So we've been trying to, for the past, since I had hair, and to try to get the county to take it over, and they'll often say, we're moving that direction, it makes sense to do, but we never seem to get quite over that hump. But at least, so in a sense, having to foreclose on our taxes as opposed to the counties and the village is redundant. We tend to make out okay because we ultimately collect them, but it would be more efficient if the county would take it over, and we've been trying to do that. But in the meantime, we entered into an agreement that says that on the ones that they are foreclosing on, they won't take the taxes unless they also take our taxes and make us whole. So that's part of the deal. So it's unfortunate that we have to enter into this agreement, because it'd be nice if they just made us whole and we had 100% of our taxes, and
right,
they could then do their thing. But until that bright day dawns, we have to enter into this agreement.
Did you hear that, Joe?
Well, you see, we have this thing in Delaware County called a board of supervisors, where the town supervisors get together, and so sometimes we have to like lobby the towns because.
Let's get the public defender's office open.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, they're more expensive, see,
Well,
the
okay.
tax foreclosures, they make money for you,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
know, so we gotta put the left foot before the right foot.
Exactly.
There you go.
So we just
So-
need a motion to
Yep.
pass that
Yep.
resolution.
Need a motion to pass it.
So moved.
Motion made and second to pass this resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next up, Chalk Art Day, which is, what day again?
June 18th.
June 18th? Yep, they want to close down part of North Street again, which we always do, so need a motion for that.
Make a motion to close it?
And second.
Motion made and second to close that for Chalk Art Day, and the alternative day is what? The next day?
Yep, Wednesday the 9th.
Wednesday the 9th, so. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Steve, where is that going to be closed? Which, is it a block?
Yeah, it's right in front of the school like they always do. They do it at Mead Street and
Platt.
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 Pardon me?
June 9th, yep, 18th.
June 18th.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
June 18th.
June 18th,
Thank you.
19th of the rain.
Okay. Next thing is Head Start wants to use Yendi's Pavilion, which is Austin Lincoln. And that is a day that during the week, so they don't need to have anybody come up. They want to be able to use the pavilion and stuff free of charge, which they always have in the past. And nobody needs to go up and open and close the bathroom, so there's no overtime needed for that. So we need a motion for that.
I'll move to do that.
A second.
Motion made second to go ahead and let the Head Start use the pavilion and bathrooms. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
What day is that?
May 31st, from 10 to 2.
There you go.
Thank you.
See, Jody has all the papers. The next is the American Legion's Auxiliary. They're going to do a walkathon. And they are going to be using, I believe, the Veterans Plaza. And then they want to do a walkathon through the village and the sidewalks. I'm not 100% sure what they're asking for from us, but
I think they just wanted to keep us in the
just keep
loop.
us in the loop, so. What day is that again?
April 20th.
So April 20th, if you see people walking around, that's what they're doing. And they may have a band and some stuff done at Veterans Plaza, they said, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, DJ, they might have to ask the town about that.
Yep. Anybody DJs?
I do sometimes.
You do sometimes?
Unfortunately, I'm not available that day. I want to do that.
So they won't be shutting anything down or need to request or?
No request for any of that to be shut down. The next is going to be 4 Camp Avenue.
14.
14, yes, 14, thank you.
Might scare
And,
somebody.
yeah. They are looking to have their taxes, which are 3 years in the rear.
Yes.
I think they're looking at $4,200 or something similar to that.
$4,832.94.
And they wanted to do.
Make payments.
Make payments on, and what do you guys want to do? You want to accept
Isn't that
payment?
commonly done?
No,
I don't think you can.
no, you can pay a year. You can pay a year.
The board has the authority, again, because we're the authority that forecloses on taxes as opposed to that fellow over there. We are the taxing authority, so the board has the authority to make payment schedules. The concern always is if you do it for one, you're doing it for somebody else, and
Doors
what's
box.
the criterion, and why did you give it to them and not give it to me, and
Yep.
so it becomes problematic. And you know, if there are truly extraordinary situations, you have the legal authority to do it. But as a practical matter, you need to, before you do it, you should think long and hard about whether you have an established criteria and when you're going to do it now and when you're going to do it later.
Right.
So,
Did they communicate sort of how much they're willing to pay up front or what?
They would have to do it by year. payment-wise, right?
We usually only take full year payments.
Right.
That's our policy in the office. So if you wanted to do anything different, that would have to be up to you guys.
So they can make payments, they just have to pay a full year at a time.
Correct.
So they don't have to pay the whole thing all at once.
No.
But it gets applied against the last, the longest to go.
Is there additional penalty if you do a 1 year at a time?
That I don't know.
There's a penalty
penny?
assessed each first of the month. There's a penalty assessed. It's 1%, so regardless if they pay or don't pay.
Right.
Any outstanding tax gets assessed
I just wonder if
1%.
that could start a thing of, well, I don't have it this year, I'll just pay it next year
Yeah.
with no
Yeah.
penalty, and that could lead
And
to
I-
some pretty good shortages.
I don't think the letter that we received is sufficient enough for us to make that decision to offer payments. I don't think she had extenuating circumstances there,
Yeah.
my opinion.
I think the way it's set up is probably the way to do it. We do take payments just a year at a time. So she probably needs to make, at least a year payment at a time.
Who wants to make a motion, vote on what?
You don't really need to if you're not gonna
If
do
no one's
anything.
moving it, then you don't have to make
Just
a
keep it-
motion.
Okay, then we'll keep it the same then.
No action. Okay. And now you're at the Girl Scouts.
All right. Girl Scouts.
So we're Walton Girl Scout Troop 30081, and we've come to talk to you about our Silver Award project concerning Bassett Park, how we can improve it.
Here's a extra copy.
Thank you.
We, the members of Walton Girl Scout Troop 30081, are working on our Silver Award. The Silver Award is the highest award a cadet Girl Scout can earn. You must be in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. 4 of us are in 8th grade and 1 of us is in 6th. The award gives us a chance to show that we can be leaders who are organized, determined, and dedicated to improving our community. After serious consideration, we have decided that we would like to work at Bassett Park by adding features that would make it more family friendly. The items we would like to add are pet waste station, clean up after your pet signs, heavy duty charcoal grill, 2 more trash cans, young lungs at play, no smoking signs, a funnel ball game, a concrete pad for Foursquare and hopscotch. We will be fundraising for them and would love to purchase everything on the list. However, it will depend on how much money we raise. We have listed them in order of priority. At this time, we are seeking approval or some of these. Thank you for your consideration. Lacey Frank, Kara O'Connor, Paige Moody, Maddie Reed, and Cookie Richards.
Very nice, girls.
We have a sample of some of the items on the list here and how much they'll cost. We have already had this one donated to us.
Okay.
Any questions?
Can I see that?
And now you can see what that means.
Yeah.
Concrete pad is not on there because
And go through code
it's
to
very
make sure that
difficult to
they're
estimate how much it is.
in place properly.
Even though, so we're going to get a professional opinion with someone that deals with concrete about that, even though it's last on our list of priorities.
Okay.
Do we have an ordinance in place or a local law in place regarding no smoking in that park?
I don't think we do.
We did,
There was something there, because we
No
got some
smoking in public places, I think it falls in that.
because I know in the other one,
At some point we did, I just don't remember, but we gotta be careful about posting no smoking signs. If in fact the board hasn't, maybe we can just confirm that we already do have no smoking.
Okay.
in
We can-
place before we post the
Yeah,
smoking signs.
we'll look into that part as far as the no smoking sign, but then let you guys know about that. What I'm going to do is probably have you all give this information to our code enforcement to make sure that everything will be installed properly. But I don't have a problem with any of this other than checking to see about the no smoking sign.
Yeah, they all look like great additions to the park.
Thank you.
It's a great idea.
Nice poster.
Had some clear there.
So we need to make a motion for this?
So, what exactly are we moving to do?
To approve the proposal.
Yeah.
Propose the proposal.
And to allow the placement in the park.
Yep, and
I
to
would
make sure.
certainly move to approve that.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Like I said, you can get with the code enforcement when you guys get stuff and make sure things are properly placed. But very nice job, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got nothing else.
You have nothing else? Oh, we have one thing we have to do. We have to make a motion to have this put on the ballot.
Oh, yes.
We have to have a motion to have the
We need to remove,
we need to remove the people who are on the banks to the new mayor and deputy mayor.
Yep.
So you guys need to make a motion.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So there you go. Anything else? Anything else?
No, not today.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
I need a motion for that.
Oh, you need a motion for adjournment.
Wait till next month.
Need to study cut
Yes, motion there, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Actually, you don't have to have approval for a motion to this.